Ain't nothing more I can say, nothing left I can do. Visions and dreams I see in my slumber are coming true. People are nothing new, most of them are your enemies. I'm trying to spread love, cause hatred could be the end of me. Never try to pretend to be anything that you ain't. All those who wanna be like you will tell you that you can't. But I can't let negativity creep up in my spirit. They probably talking down, but you know I never hear it. Never gonna go near it, never gonna get close. Give them a
What's up, guys? I'm Dustin Cavazos. I am an artist here in the Dallas area, specifically Oak Cliff. I started doing music back, I guess like back in 2005. I started like making beats and whatnot, but I didn't really start getting serious about it until like 07, 08. I was kind of making music, and I was kind of embarrassed by it because I didn't think I was like very good at it, and I grew up hating rap music altogether. So like the fact that I was making rap music, I felt that my friends would think it was dumb. So like everything I did was kind of like loose, like it was like really like laid back, and like this, I'm not really taking it seriously. Until other artists, like hip hop artists, started taking my beats seriously, and I was like, oh, I can take this seriously. So that's kind of when I started making music. As to describe my music, I try not to like get all creative when I'm describing it. I don't try to like make it sound better than what it really is, because really I'm just rapping over like 4/4 beats or like 6/8 beats. I'm just like rapping over these songs that I'm writing, so it's not anything special. It's just rap. It's just hip hop. It's just music. I don't try to get all fancy when describing it, but that's just how I look at it. If I listen to, I guess, a lot of like hardcore music or like emo type of music, I don't know, that's just how like kids were describing it back then. I grew up listening to like a lot of Bright Eyes and like to a lot of Saves the Day, and then like I started to delve into like Glassjaw and like Norma Jean, like Unearthed, like bands like that. So I didn't listen to a lot of hip hop growing up until like until I graduated high school. And then, you know, I like heard College Dropout for like the first time. I heard it like 3 or 4 years late, but that was like the first hip hop record that I really listened to. And then like Common's B is like my favorite hip hop album of all time. But yeah, those are some of the artists I listened to growing up. I'm all about giving back in any way, you know. I know you asked about like the community and whatnot, which is super important. I want to give back to Dallas as much as I can because the city in itself has inspired me so much. But you know, giving back just to people, even just one person, you know, getting a message on Facebook and someone's going through a bad day, you know, like talk to them about it. I'm gonna take the time to talk to you, you know. Giving back in all senses, like, I mean, I want to be able to one day be doing well enough to give back to like an entire school, you know. We did that toy drive back in December, and we did the best we could, but you know, I want to be able to like, boom, all the kids get toys and school supplies and stuff like that. So, I mean, giving back is a big part because as an artist, and I believe all artists, and if any artist is listening to this anywhere, like, you're a nobody, I'm a nobody. So, musicians and artists and people that create are only in a position to be where they are because of other people. So like giving back to somebody that listened to my music or that bought an album or that paid money to buy a ticket to go to a show that I was on, like I want to give back to you as much as I can because I'd be nowhere in this world without other people. So heck yeah, I mean, just going back to that last question, I'd be nowhere without people. So having a team is like so important. Like I'm not even doing anything big, you know what I mean? I've put out a couple of albums and EPs, and I've played some cool shows, but I'd be nowhere if it wasn't for my team. You know, my co-producer on Believe Me, Jose Alize, you know, he helped me out a lot and on so many levels. And then just my band, like, these guys take their time out of their weekends or like take their time out of their weekdays to like rehearse and like play shows, and so like I'd be nowhere without them. Like, these people have held it down in so many ways. Not only like as like musicians and being in my band, but these guys are like my good friends, you know. We celebrate holidays together like a family, you know what I mean? So if it wasn't for good people like that, I wouldn't be in a good state of mind, period. The process has always been like a long and drawn out thing. it's very seldom that I sit down like, oh, a concept's in my head, let me sit down with the organ and pick out some chords, and boom, the song's done like in a day. Like that's very seldom. For me, it's like I'll sit at the organ and like write something out, and then I'll let that develop, and then while that's developing, like words will come in, or I jot down stuff in my journal. Like I'll write down stuff in my journal, and then next page, write down stuff, next page, next page, next page. Accumulate all these words and phrases and ideas, and then go back on them once this thing is finished, and I'll be like, what fits here, what fits here? Or sometimes, when this comes, I'm like, this is what I feel, so I need to let that develop. So it's a long process, and it comes from very many different angles into how it develops into like a final song. But I don't want to say it's not a complex process at all. Like, don't think that I'm doing something extremely hard. It's really like, it's an accident almost, and it's very easy. It's just a long process. Has always played a big part of my life growing up. I guess just like being creative. I guess I had like a twin brother, and I had older brothers, and my older brothers always kind of kept me competitive because we'd be playing like one-on-one basketball and like I'd never win, or we'd be playing like Madden and like I'd never win. So like growing up, I've always been kind of competitive, and so my twin brother and I were always like drawing, and like we were always kind of competitive too, like whose picture was better and stuff like that. But at the same time, he kind of helped me like, oh, we're different, like we make different kind of art, like no one's better than each other when it comes to art. But so like I've always kind of had this drive about me to like try to get better, but always know at the same time like nobody's art is better than anybody else's. But growing up, art has always played like a key role to where I was either playing with Legos, or coming home after school and like drawing with my brother, or being at school and like always thinking it was cool to like draw pictures for other people, like to be like, hey, draw me this. And I don't know, I've always kind of felt inadequate too at the same time when it comes to art. I've always felt like I'm not really that good at it. I don't know why people are getting like hyped up about it. And especially with my music, like when I started it, I was like, do people not know that this isn't good? Like, I wish people knew that this, like I'm not doing anything like hard, like it's not even that cool. And I'm just coming to the realization as we're talking right now, like it's kind of funny. Strive for that. I still try to, like when I'm writing, I'm like, I hope nobody's ever written this. I hope that what I'm writing has never been written. At least this specific, this concept that has been thought about life and death and happiness and relationships. All those concepts have been touched on, but maybe I'm going to write something that's never been written. Maybe these two words have never been side by side in a phrase to get a point across. So, but when it comes to my writing, I try to be original, but when it comes to melodies and stuff like that, I feel like it's all been done. So, on the song Fresh, which is on my first album, I think in the shower, I dream on my bike. When I wrote that, it was kind of about looking back on growing up and how I always tell people growing up I was never like rich and I was never poor. Like we were kind of like always in the middle. And the best way to explain it is like I wasn't on free lunch and I didn't pay for like regular lunch. I was always on like reduced lunch. So it was like I was always like right in the middle, like, you know what I mean? Like I always had a roof over my head, I always had food, and I always had clothes. I just never had like the nicest clothes or like something that wasn't great value from Walmart. Like if we had some kind of canned food, it was like great value, which isn't bad. It was just like, like I said, we weren't poor. So it was kind of looking back and being like, having this confidence about me, knowing that I really wasn't wearing like nice shoes. I didn't own a pair of Nikes until like 7th grade or something. So like I never grew up like wearing nice clothes, and just going back and talking about how you can still be fresh. It's really about a state of mind. It's about having confidence and being able to walk into your classroom and be like, I look good, like I don't care. My style and like how I dress, I just I don't know, I guess like as I started getting older and like in high school and stuff, I kind of found a joy in like buying really cheap clothes at the thrift store. Like for me, that's what did it. That's what's always like kind of done it for me. It's like whatever I find at the thrift store, I'm pretty much gonna wear it if I like it. And that's just kind of how my style has been. I mean, this shirt I bought at the thrift store. Usually I don't buy pants at thrift stores. Like, I usually buy pants at like Urban Outfitters or like, really I can't think of a pair of pants I haven't bought at Urban Outfitters in the past couple years. So thrift stores is where I usually shop at, because I still feel like I'm like grinding so hard just to come up just a little bit in this town, you know. But I guess when asked the question, I always give the same answer. It's all about being real. Like, nobody likes anything fake. Nobody. You don't like fake Jordans, so why would you listen to like a fake artist? You know, why would you put something into your spirit? Because, you know, music is a very spiritual thing. Why would you put something into your spirit that's fake? So just try to be as real as possible, and I think people recognize that. Because, you know, going back to the one question about art and how I said I've always felt inadequate about art. The one thing I've always felt that is undeniable is that I will always be real in my music, and I think that's really what people grasp onto, is the fact that I try to be as real as possible. So to me, that's always been my strong point. I'm gonna be as real as possible. That's just it. Be as real as possible. Like, if you don't like something, say it. If you do like something, live it out. You know, live what you say. You know, practice what you preach. Dustin Cavazos. You know, like, I'm working on a new album. That's kind of the thing that I'm most excited about, is I'm working on a new album that I'm so excited about. Like, I can't stress enough how excited I am about this new album. And, you know, trying to shoot like a live DVD and just doing shows here in the area, you know, trying to open up to bigger artists while at the same time trying to build my own shows. So if you're looking out for that, I'm going to be here in Dallas and hopefully in the city near you this summer. So find me pretty much on all social networks with Dustin Cavazos. If it's twitter.com/Dustin Cavazos. If it's DustinCavazos.tumblr.com, you can find me there. You can just type in DustinCavazos.com and you can find me there. Probably the only thing that's kind of different is my Facebook. It's Dustin Moses Cavazos. Facebook.com/Dustin Moses Cavazos. And DustinCavazos.bandcamp.com, you can find all my music there. iTunes, type in Dustin Cavazos. The App Store, type in Dustin Cavazos. I have a free iPhone app you can download. I'm pretty accessible. And yeah, hit me up.
Cool. Alright, thanks, Dustin.
Yeah, man. Omar, he's a man. This is a song that Omar wanted me to do. He said that he YouTubed it and he couldn't find it anywhere on the net, anywhere on YouTube, anywhere on the web. And I was like, oh, let me try to find it. It took me like 20 minutes to try to find this beat. It was lost in all these files, and I'm looking back at like 2008, 2009, 2010. When did I make this beat? And so this is a song called Sometimes Clouds Will Want to Help the Sky. I didn't want to try to take time to learn it again, so I'm just going to play the beat, and I'm going to spit it for you guys. GeniusLifestyle.com.
Yeah.
Shout outs to them specifically. It goes like this. Hey, sometimes I don't hear my phone ring. Sometimes I don't feel my soul sing. Sometimes I fly away to a different town that's out of home steam. And sometimes I sit around and watch the news, get the blues, miss my cues, blank out when I think of you. Sometimes when I close my eyes, sometimes I don't feel alive. Sometimes I force a rhyme, or force a line, to force a smile. Sometimes I don't even know when it's said and done what I'm gonna have to show. And I got another show, and sometimes I don't even wanna go. But if we could really fly, you know why I soar. And if you had everything, you'd still want more. And if we could never die, you know why I'd hate seeing all my loved ones sleep at day. Wait, sometimes I can fly, sometimes it feels like I never die. Sometimes it's best if we say goodbye. Sometimes cats don't wanna help the sky. Sometimes I'm breathing, sometimes I give. Sometimes I am self-deceiving in memories I relive. And sometimes I don't think there's no one I can trust. Sometimes I live too fast, my life seems a little rushed. Sometimes I read the Bible, compare my life to its text. Sometimes I pray for guidance, I don't know what's coming next. Sometimes I lay awake, so then my days are waste. So then I'm up all night till I see the sun at a grueling pace. Sometimes I ask myself, will I ever be half the man that my father is? When I look at him, then and where I stand. But if we could really fly, you know why I soar. And if you had everything, you'd still want more. And if we could never die, you know why I hate seeing all my loved ones sleep at day. Wait, sometimes I can fly, sometimes it feels like I never die. Sometimes it's best to say goodbye. Sometimes cats don't want to help the sky. Sometimes I'm breathing, sometimes I give, sometimes I am self-deceiving in memories I relive. They have
feet of alchemy, and I'll always be ever progressing, and I'll always thank the Lord for every single blessing. And if